And you call your program Live Intuitively, and so there is a contradiction I know there's a learning process in that, because
Mm-hmm.
when we come back to understand that there have been signs and symptoms in our hair, in our body, whatever already, and it's almost like a deeper voice, that is closer to our intuition, let's call that, it's we ignore that a lot. What do you call intuitive living then for yourself, or why is that? It's almost like what I'm trying to say and ask at the same time is that I totally hear what you say. We all have these things where we need to spiral into something that feels a little bit too much out of line with us, out of balance, not ourselves anymore, until we take action. But is your program highlighting that for people, or is it more something that, like, what is it actually that you want to say with that? Why do you chose the name?
The name, yeah. So it was really around when I first started working with people around nutrition and coaching, it was looking externally for the answers. And so asking a professional, going to see someone and asking them. And so within the naturopathic nutrition consultations, I would really get to know what's going in, and I can see the map of their bodies and how they've got to this place of how they're spending their energy. And then they're walking away with me saying, take this supplement, try these foods, do that thing, and it becomes, oh, the answers are outside of me, the answers are externally. When I go see this person, I feel better and I feel inspired, and I'm bringing that into my world, and it makes a difference. I need to keep doing that. How can I keep looking outside? And I really quickly, within about a year and a half, realized that I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be the person that fixes someone or goes in to help someone. I want to empower them to see that map themselves. And I really believe Ayurveda does that with the elements and the energies, and how you get to see them within your own body. And that to me is your body's intuitive nature, and your body's wisdom talking. That's your body's voice, like being able to relate to you and talk to you and say, I need help here, I need balance, like, how are you going to help me out? So it's really that map of Ayurveda gifts that, and it has for these thousands of years, and then it gets passed on through people as it's awoken. It's not a learning, really, it's an awakening within us, that we're all built from nature, and then we get to pass that on and empower the next person to see this map that guides them into their intuitive voice and their intuitive way of their body talking.
And that's a narrative I would have followed for a long time myself, being Ayurvedic consultant myself, and I just kind of dare you to this conversation more or less, because what it misses in itself. I know what you're saying. A lot of us, depending on our culture, for example, the Germans are very DIY. I think in England and in a lot of other countries, we are more used to service and surrender to services, and we like it. And there's areas where we always expect service, for example, in the health region, like the doctors and whatever. And that is still super important, I feel, because at the end of the day, yes, we need to trust ourselves, but secondly, we are no individuals. We are all living on this grid of reflecting each other, supporting each other. So the idea that you're putting out here, like when I listen to you, I suddenly thought about the hairdressing, as we're on that topic, just as an example for you, dear listener, like, it's like, yeah, but I don't want to, I want to understand my hair, but I also want somebody to kind of love it and kind of reassure me about my hair, and what you didn't want it to do any longer, the natural path, is super important to me, even though I am very much about self-growth and DIY, so I think it's a very, very thin line in kind of finding your intuitive voice and kind of using, for example, Ayurveda or any natural healing path that kind of helps you to self-empower and stay connected with other people that do kind of help you along. So I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it even more so because of that wisdom, like, this is how I see it, is that we're all here to hold hands and guide each other through this path of life and walk each other through. There's no point in one person just like shooting off on a rocket and being like, oh yeah, it's great, I've got everything sorted, I'm just going to live over here. Like, we're all in this very much a path of walking each other home, however you want to say it, but just to be in a place of sharing wisdom and sharing experience. And so working one-to-one, like I was saying, it felt very much like I was going to be the expert in something and let someone know what they need to do in that moment, and they would come to me and then they would leave. Whereas through the empowerment and through the shared like container of, whether that is, we hold workshops on herbal hairdressing, so it's like speaking from experience and holding workshops where everyone gets to share, or whether that's in the coaching container where I don't work one-to-one, but I work within a group of people and everyone's sharing their wisdom experience, and it's waking these parts of us up within that. And then I'm always going to be like learning more and more and wanting to learn more, so looking out to people, mentors that are like connecting with the land, connecting with their feminine wisdom, connecting with their like forage, all of these things that I'm now kind of like, oh, I'm intrigued to learn from someone who's more of a professional in that with me, so that I can then pass that along. So I still see it as this walking together in doing that. I don't kind of feel personally like I want to become an expert in one area. I feel like I want to awaken lots within me, of places within me and these parts within me, and then be able to share from all of those places. Yeah. Not sure if that kind of
it does answer it. And what I think we're looking at in a very vague way is to find a degree of self-empowerment, while not feeling like, because you cannot solve everything by yourself, this doesn't mean you're not self-empowered. That there's a mixed message in that. That's what I was trying to highlight here in this interview, and then when you know everything about Ayurveda, you're going to be, even my Ayurvedic doctor went to an Ayurvedic doctor. He went even to a doctor, who could, what do you call it, working with feet podiatrists or, and what is that?
Podiatry.
And so it depends on what kind of personality you are. I've been always the one that wanted to learn and have, the tools and the keys and essentially kind of be able to do everything and trust in the systems. But there is also a foolishness in that. That's what I'm trying to highlight, just from, not because you said it, but because in this conversation, I noticed that particular, because you mentioned intuition. It's a foolishness in that, because it makes you sometimes too self-reliant, and that's also paired with the culture I grew up in, which I had to exchange for more service culture in order for me to understand also what does it mean to receive,
Okay. No, I get that from that angle. I didn't see it from that angle. For me, what that then brings up is that the intuitive part is also a self-trust, and so still trusting what comes within and being able to speak from that place and not just looking externally for answers. And so if I'm going to nutshell it, that's what it is. It's this, if you want to call it empowerment, I don't tend to, I've used that quite a lot, but it's a way of trusting self, trusting my own voice and knowing that it's valid. So I would pedestal all of like the people that I would learn from and really compare, and I'm less than, and going into that, and actually to be able to walk alongside everyone and share that meant that I also trust that I'm worthy. So it's a place of worthiness and being good enough, that I've received so much from going within and learning to listen to the feedback my body's giving me.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. And see you in the next show, dear listener. Have a wonderful day.